because someone took over. Oh, there you go.
I'm
So
putting
it's
it to
a
the cloud.
two-part amendment, but creating urgency, creating a list of what it takes to be that leader.
Mhm.
What do we need to have in our arsenal? What do we need to be and have nutritionally? You know, my green zymes, my things, figuring out an address to ship here prior to having an address so I could have some more supplements, you know, drop ship to California, you know, going outside those boxes to really create what is that? Who is that? And but also actually, and Leo, I've taken some things from you, and that is I sign people up as customers first and let them buy and get their feet wet until they decide to really want to play and build. Unless they're a business builder or wanting the business or wanting that, I'm not signing them up just to have them on my list. But the creating that urgency and making that list, Mike, having that visualization of what does it take to be a leader? You know, what does it take to be that? A silver is management level. That's management level. That's something that, you know, and actually the rookie management until you're gold or platinum, and then you have other people to manage underneath you, right? So
Right.
that's when I talk about the skinny consultants and then the plump ones, right? You're skinny when you first sign up, and then all of a sudden you got all these people on your team, and then you go silver. Then you're skinny again because you got to go create more team builders, right? You get the skinny and the plump, and you've got to go plumping up the coppers, go build your legs wide. You were always a master of that, Mike. You've always had magnificent width, and then the depth follows. But yeah.
And I still do, but I mean, that is a strategy, okay? Building width versus building depth. That's another conversation we can talk about, because that is a strategy that prevents you from falling into management mode. I find that a lot of people fall into management mode. Most of the silvers and above are in management mode. How do you know? Because you can tell by people breaking rank. It's the people breaking rank that are not in management mode. And the people who are not breaking in rank, they're just sort of cruising along. They're in management mode. So what's really urgent, I think, for most of the people on this call, not necessarily everybody in NECAN, but the people joining this call, I think what's urgent is for you to be motivated. And motivation doesn't come from anything I say or anything anybody else says. The kind of motivation that's going to get something achieved in your business is when you set a goal for yourself, when it's a goal that you want to achieve, when it's something that you're motivated to achieve for whatever reason. It's your reason. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to have a great reason, just as long as you have a reason for yourself. But setting a goal creates an expectation, and expectation activates the law of attraction. What you attract what you expect. It's a frequency, it's a vibration, it's an anticipation, and you start to actually conduct yourself on all levels of yourself, of your being, in accordance to your expectations. I'll give you an example. If you expect to go on vacation in a month, let's say that's your expectation, what's going to happen? How is your behavior going to be different than the previous month? Chances are you're going to do something different, like book a ticket, start researching a hotel or a location. Something's going to change in your behavior if you set an expectation to take a vacation next month. So when we set an objective, when we set a goal, we create an expectation, and that causes a change in our behavior. And it's that change in our behavior that produces a different result, or the result that's more in alignment with what the expectation is. And there's what's so great about the Club Ki goal is that's an expectation. It's not a huge expectation. And that's why I started this conversation by, if 60K was an expectation for the business builders 20 years ago, 6K is not a huge expectation when in relative terms. And 60K you had to do in 1 month to get the 60K club. 6K for silver is over 3 months. So we're not talking about huge numbers, relatively speaking. We're still talking about the same kind of products. You know, Nikken has not changed their product. It's the same products, maybe innovative products. They've innovated them, but they're still the same thing. We're still talking the same thing. And the price range of the products hasn't changed dramatically either in terms of what people are investing to have a Nikken wellness home or sleep system or whatnot. In fact, they've even come down. So it's not the price it's not the product. It's not what we're offering that's changed. What's changed is expectations. And when you have less and lower expectations, then you have less energy in the system, and therefore you attract that in kind. You attract what you expect. So I think one of the best examples on this call always is Leo and his team. Why? Because he sets an expectation for himself, and he's then duplicated that expectation by members of the team that are following him. Not everybody, but those that are following him, those are the ones who you see progress. You see the progress being made. You see the ranks being advanced. You see the Club Kiais being won, the Team Kaizen being qualified for. So where did it all begin? How does all of this actually start? It starts with some degree of expectation. If you don't have that going into the month, going into the quarter, if it's just, you know, showing up, you're there, but there's no real expectation, then what are you attracting? And so you're not going to attract much. And then that month goes, and now you got another month. And Nikken's doing all these beautiful things for us, you know, this incentive and that incentive and this sale and that and so forth. But if you don't set up an expectation around that, then it's just going to come and go. You know, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into quarters, quarters turn into years. And then it's like, okay, a whole year's gone by. What's really changed? And then we got to get into that groove. So as a business owner, as the CEO of your company, we're all equals on this call. We're all co-collaborators in an organization called Nikken. We have our own independent business, and it's entirely up to us how we want to conduct ourselves and to what degree we want to grow that business. But it really comes down to expectation. If your expectations are low, it's going to be hard for you to attract someone whose expectations are high. Think about that for a second. If your expectations are low, it's going to be hard to attract somebody whose expectations are high. If your expectations are high, it's going to be hard for you to work with somebody whose expectations are low. You see how it shapes the way you operate. So what would you rather have? Low expectations or high expectations in this business? In any business. So I really think that it's important to set some expectations for yourself, for your business, by establishing some really solid goals, some written goals, and then commit to them. Now, that's another huge factor in success, is when you actually make a decision to complete something, to commit to an objective. So commit to it. And then you will start to attract the elements, the people, the circumstances, the information, the techniques, all of those things. I gave you the example last week about, you know, cleaning a shotgun, learning how to clean a shotgun. It wouldn't be anything anybody would be interested in unless you're really into guns. But if you now created the context, there was a real need for you to know how to do this because there was the risk of an invasion. Now, all of a sudden, you want to know all the details. Now the details actually come into your conscious mind, your radar. You start to pay attention to the information differently. The information that's floating around Nikken for building a multi-million-dollar income has been there for, in my case, 3 decades. There's no mystery whatsoever. No secret that hasn't been revealed. Nothing. So why don't more people become business owners of multi-million-dollar businesses in NECAN? When it's on the table, it's available, and the know-how to do it is there, and the people who can help you do it are also there. Well, the problem is not the for lack of opportunity. That's not the issue. You don't lack that. You lack ambition. You lack the desire to really go after it. You know, you want to maybe a modest result or just a feeling of being connected. There's a difference between being a business builder and somebody who's in business. We're trying to create a community here. We're trying to expand the community. And so expanding the community means outreach, means getting out there and talking to people, but you're not going to get out of your comfort zone if you don't have any expectations. If you have high expectations, you're driven by the expectations and you naturally find yourself outside of your comfort zone. It's just a consequence. And then what happens is you start to get comfortable in that scenario, and then you have even higher expectations because you're going to get the feedback from that. It's like, I don't know, I'm Italian, so I'm a real foodie kind of guy. I'm a food snob. I know food. I know wine and I know food, and I know good food and I know good wine. So if I go to an Italian restaurant, particularly Italian restaurant, and I want to get a sense about how this Italian restaurant, where is this Italian restaurant in terms of quality, you know, are they authentic and not? I'll order a specific type of dish and I'll see how they make this. And it'll tell me everything I need to know about where this restaurant stands. And it's funny because if you go to these food guides or whatever, you know, the top 10 Italian restaurants in Toronto, and I look at the list, I'm like, who put this list together? Clearly not an Italian. Because they don't have the best restaurants on there. Anyway, so my expectations are very high when I go to a restaurant, but I am brought down to the level of the restaurant. I don't know what their expectations are, but I can tell based on the kind of quality that they put into their food. And how often do you think I'm going to go back to a restaurant that has mediocre expectations? I'm not going back. There's too many restaurants in the world to waste my time and my money being satisfied or satiated by mediocrity. Not good enough. There's only so many days you have on planet Earth, and they're numbered. There's actually a number. On the day you die, somebody could calculate the exact number. So we know there's a number. How many of those days do you want to spend in mediocrity? Do you want to get comfortable in mediocrity? Or do you want to get uncomfortable and live on the edge? And then every day is like an adventure. Every day is a day that you're going to say, wow, that was cool. Wow, that was exciting. Wow, that was interesting. Wow, we just made it by the skin of our teeth. How would you like to have every day of your life feel like you're alive? Does that come from setting low expectations or setting high expectations for yourself? Think about it. By the way, you could be disappointed one day. Has that ever happened to anybody? But you're never disappointed when you have no expectations. So that's playing it safe, right? Isn't that what we do? We lower expectations so we can play it safe so that we don't get disappointed. Do you know that's the most common thing I've heard about why people don't set a goal? Because they don't want to be disappointed. Think about that. They haven't even set the goal, and they're already thinking about being disappointed. That's how their mind is backfired. That's psychologically psychotic. When your expectation is failure. That's why you don't take any initiative. That's sad.
Leave her alone, Brody. Leave her alone.
Barb, we can hear that. So coming back to the point, expectations. We want to set some higher expectations for ourselves so that we can get the most out of life. We can get the most out of the experience, the most out of the journey, the most out of the day. So coming back to your goals, we talk, about the goal in the business. Maybe there's some other areas that you want to look at challenging yourself in terms of mind, body, family, society, finances, all 5 of those pillars. Create some expectations there. Heck, like, do you want to look back on this year and say, it was kind of like last year, because I didn't really challenge myself. A whole year out of the X number of years of your life that just kind of floated by and you didn't really live it. You were just in it. It was kind of like you're a spectator in your life rather than a participant in it. Who wants that? Again, where does that come from? The lack of expectation. Because you don't want to be disappointed? Heck, why? I'd rather be disappointed than feeling like dead, breathing but dead. So expectations are the key to all kinds of qualities in your life. Setting high expectations. That'll attract people who have high expectations. That'll get you in conversations with people who have high expectations. That'll have you talking about things that are exciting, energetic, that has energy in the system. And you'll find yourself naturally attracting and migrating into that space. And then mediocrity becomes a thing that, it's just that, yeah, you can have Sunday. Sunday's okay to be a mediocre day. I don't mind every now and then having a mediocre day, but I don't want every day to be that. So enough about that. Any comments?
I just want to add, Mike, that I make games up just to declare, today's going to be a $5,000 day, and I don't know where it's coming from. And I actually make a little thermometer and I play, or this week, and I don't know, it shifts how I talk to people or what calls I'm going to make, and that I stay a little longer. I think I shared before, I set my alarm for, no, not now, but I'm the whole time change is really an interesting dance, but 15 minutes before Zoom to get to my desk so I can make 3 or 4 phone calls before. Now I'm doing a half hour because a lot of the younger people want the link sent to them ahead of time, right? So if we can send a link. So tomorrow night, I'm looking at who on my team really could use the Ladies Leading Ladies thing, and what can I promote, and who can I get on there to help them master our new back office, and then, have it with grace and ease to give to other people. But I got diverted. But anyway, the point is to play the game and leverage some of it, so that if you do get Club Ki, or in the creating of Club Ki, you can then, if you sell a sleep system, you could give a water bottle away. You could give them something in the midst of what they're doing, because, that's what I just did. I had one, I got this, and then the other one I gave a eye mask to. Well, then the husband had to have an eye mask, and then, it created a little bit of other stuff happening. And then they got the waterfall. They did it a little bit backwards than some of the other people, but it just gets them excited too. And then a few of my good customers, I let them know when I'm going for a Club Ki, hey, I'm going for a goal this month. And, it's like when we did the 21 Club, I'm rolling out 21 people. Well, I can have 21 Zooms this week, or 21. I actually say I have a little apprehension about getting back into public or having other people come in my home. So I got to get past that. And I think there's a barrier there that we need to get past, the one-on-ones again, right? Creating the one-on-ones. I'm fessing up on that. But in the meantime, I'm looking at, okay, how do I shift the conversation to a Zoom? Because when I do Zooms, I'm going to have more of a connection, and then it's going to catapult my desires. right? My vision for the people, or they can own my vision and then support me. And I get referrals, I get other things. So what are you asking for? What are you looking for? And then what's the game? Just make the game. I remember when a husband and wife bought the, the insoles, or they commit to their health, and say it's the waterfall, the insole. I always try to get water, daytime products, and something at night, right? So I'll get a little on them and all the way across. Well, if they do that, then I might give the eye mask, or put them in a raffle for a pillow. They don't know when you're doing your raffle. Nobody knows, but every time you buy something, I'm going to put your name in the raffle. And then, you raffle. That I learned from another, actually a Mary Kay lady. I'm like, hey, I don't have to give something to you every time. I can just get your name in the thing, right? So
Good
I
idea.
don't know, but I make games up all the time. And I was just sitting here looking for my little thermometer, because I came close to the Club Ki. I will make it this month. That's my goal. And I just looked at it. It's about 4,500 or 5,000 I got to do this month to get it, because I had leading February. I had a great February. It's like, okay, not going to pass me up, right? Too close. So come on,
And
And
that's another great point, by the way, Barbara. We mentioned that in the last call, that Club Ki is any 3 rolling months. So you can combine any 3 months. This is a month of 3 months. So, 3 rolling months. So I think it's great. If you had a great month last month, to leverage last month into this month. And, we have the same incentive going, which is a great incentive. How many of you have had sales because of this month's incentive or last month's incentive? It works. Incentives work. People are driven to action when they think there's something, there's a deal on the table. So yeah, I mean,
I make my thermometer go to 0, because the brain doesn't want to
yeah,
build that big of a number. So I
you
just
work your way backwards. So it'd be like,
I come from the bottom up. So I go 5,000. So this month I'm going to round up. I'm going to say 5,000. So 5,000, and then I'm going to start deducting off, and then I'll have a $2,000 day. I'll just start declaring it, and I may not reach it, but it's okay, because I went further than I would have. I made 4 more calls than I would have. I called some of those people that you might be scared to call, and then on the first call I always make at my desk is someone who loves Nikan. Loves Nikan. I don't even talk to them about buying any of the products or anything like that. That I learned from Jim Rome. It's the Cadillac salesman. It just gets you in the right mood. It gets you going. It's the first one of the week. And then you can make any of the other calls, right? But, and then when we have sales and we have some other good things, I ask them, hey, we have educational seminars and we have other things coming up. You good to learn about that? And they'll go, oh yeah, that'd be great. Send them on, let me know, or don't text me, just this way, find out how they want you to get the communication to them. And then I hang up. Yeah, have a great day. Just wanted to check in. How you liking your waterfall? You liking it? Everything going well? And just start. How are the kids? Did they win that soccer game? Whatever. And but it's really a relationship business. And you taught me that once many years ago. They're not enrolling in Nikan. They're enrolling in you and what you bring to the table. And I'm really okay not knowing. But you know what? I'm going to find you somebody who knows, and I'm going to get you on the phone with them, because that's the way we roll. I don't need to know everything. I got D here. D, you're great with the nursing, and anything that I need, that if they need that little bit of confidence or a little bit more, credibility, get somebody on that has the credibility with them. And it just kind of makes them feel better, even after their purchase. Don't forget, it takes time to get used to it. I had a lady, she wants to run a triathlon again. I'm like, we can do this. I'm not positive, but I know that you'll sleep better. You'll have more, like that. She got the insoles. And now she's like, I'm still testing that water. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to find some runners that I know that are have used the products along the way. I know Igor's done some, and hoping for a newer runner. But anyway, get them on with this woman to get them past the point of not surrendering right? Surrendering, because the day and age of when people say, well, at age, you got it because it's all, no, you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night all the time. You could sleep through the night. You could have a less hours sleep and a more depth of sleep. And oh my goodness, how great is that? Like, you don't have to buy into the stigma of what's out there. We're all aging, but we don't need to get old. And that is what we sell, the gift that we give to people. And I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway, but we throw it out there and we just tease a little bit. We give a morsel and we bring them in, and we have to do it several times to get people to the next level.
Let's go back to the theme though. The theme is expectations.
Expectations. So if we don't have the target, we won't reach for it. So
we won't be even taking aim at it.
You got to write the goal. You got to have the goal. Well, make it up. Just play a game with yourself. Try it on this week. I'm going to call 10 people. I'm going to call more than 10, but I'm going to connect with 10 people in the next 2 days. So you might have to make 20 phone calls, but you're going to do it. Because you're going to have some little graph, some little thing. I put them up on the wall. I'm kind of queer. I have whiteboards and stuff, but
let me just point something else out though. Just that comment alone. You might be thinking, I don't even have 10 people to call. Let's say that's your thought. The second you make a commitment to do it, you start to move out of the I don't have, I don't know, to who do I have? Who do I know? How do your mind works to solve the problem you put in front of it. And if the problem you put in front of it is, I don't know, then it solves that problem with, you're right, you don't know, you don't have friends, you don't go out, it starts supporting that. But if you put it out there, that's what I'm doing, I'm contacting 10 people, it goes, okay, what 10 people? Do we have one? Let's find one. Let's start with one. What one can come? What one name? And then it starts to solve the problem. And it's just learning how to use your mind correctly, because it's always working and it's always working to solve the problem. But if you don't direct it, if you don't create those expectations, if you don't create those objectives, those goals, it has nothing to solve but the current reality. The current reality is very well supported. Think about it. Your current reality is extremely well supported by facts, the facts surrounding that reality. My house, my car, my bills, my this, all the facts surrounding that reality. The second you step up into creating a new reality, what's supporting those? What's supporting that? There's no facts supporting that. All there is an expectation. That's stretching the elastic. You're just creating an expectation. There's no facts supporting it. So all you start doing then is taking baby steps, and you start working toward it. The goal is to get you moving in a direction towards something versus laterally, sideways in the current status quo. If you do $200 of sales in a month, or $500 of sales in a month, and that's your norm, double it. Make that your expectation. Why would you just do this? Why would you be satisfied? Don't ever be satisfied. You should never be satisfied. You can be grateful, never satisfied. Your spirit is for expansion. God gave you more potential than you ever could possibly know what to do with. Your job is to use as much of it as possible. So don't ever be satisfied. Be grateful, never satisfied.
Make it 2,000. Because if you make it 2,000, then you have the chance for Club KI the next month or the next month. But start with the 2,000. And then another really great guy many years ago told me that right before you leave your desk, make a list of 5 people you want to talk to in the morning. And that way you don't have to think. You just sit down and no matter what, you call those 5 people. And that's pretty amazing. And then like sometimes I just go to H and I just, or, Linda, and I'll just call, okay, I'll call that one. And sometimes they blow me away. Sometimes they, yeah, no, whatever. But you just start and it's wild. I did that. I think that was a bin thing to do one time, and we just picked a letter, and it just got me going in my alphabet of my phone. That's a little scary because you got to call the next one and the next one and that. But
there's only one way to do business in this business, is to serve people.
Mm-hmm.
And that means connecting with them and finding out how you can serve them best. So you can't be shy about that. You can't be afraid about that. And if that's where the growth has to come from, then invest some time in figuring out how to create more ways of finding and connecting with people. And as I mentioned last week, Google it, search it. Don't just sit there thinking, I don't know anybody. Say, okay, how do I find people on the internet? Just type it in Google. I'll bet you there'll be all kinds of blogs and articles and so forth. You know who put that blog out there? Somebody looking to connect with somebody who was looking to be connected. So how do you think they get their leads? So start being creative, but none of that creative stuff is going to, the juices are not going to flow until you set an expectation. You've got to energize the system. And when you do that, that's when things start to move forward. That's when change can happen. So don't be shy about setting high expectations. Man, when I started Niken, I had no business setting the goal that I set for myself in month 1. Okay. My best year was $29,000 for the year, working as an electrician and working long hours, 6 days a week. Okay. My goal for Niken, my first month, $25,000. That was my goal. What right of mind, what business do I have creating that crazy kind of an expectation? A guy who makes $29,000 a year sets a goal to make $25,000 his first month in a business he's never been in. Think about it. Crazy? Stupid? What would you call me? Guess what? I didn't hit it. But I didn't do too bad either. I got past the halfway point. Now, for a guy making $29,000 in a year who gets 15 grand in his first month in a business, that's a huge change. What changed? My expectations. My expectations drove my behavior, and my behavior created a result that was different than the results of the past. You see what I'm saying? You become a different person when you're driven by a different motive. When you set an expectation for yourself and then you go after it, you change as a person somehow. You change in the way you operate. You start to attract the things that are consistent with that. And does it take courage? I don't know. What would it take for a person who's never made $25,000 in a month to set that as an expectation? What does it take? I'll tell you what it takes. A decision. The desire. You know what Bob Proctor told me, taught everybody in the world? The only thing you need is the desire to have what you say you want. You just have to want it. To set a goal, you just have to want it. Doesn't matter what it is. You just have to want it. So you don't have to know anything about anything. You just have to want it. Wow. That's what it takes? Yeah, you just have to want it. Because somehow, some way, you're going to find out all the other things that you need to get it. But until you set the goal, you're never going to find those things. So, wow. That's really good, sage advice. You just have to want it. So what do you want? What do you want this month to look like? Last day of the month, what's the volume? How many water sales? How many new people on your team? You just got to want it. You start to act like a different person when you set yourself up with an expectation. And I just think you need to expect a little bit more of yourself and the universe, which will provide. I think it was you, Leo, last month who said, or last week, Something happens when you make a decision. It's like the universe comes in and steps in and says, okay, let's work. Let's get together. That's what happens when you make a decision. The universe conspires with you. So let's start doing this on purpose, guys. Let's make a point of moving heaven and earth, of shaking it, of making big strides in our life. Mediocrity is for the mediocre. Well, listen, it's 9:47 Eastern. I don't have anything more to add. Anybody want to wrap up? Leo, you've been pretty quiet.
I have a lot of guests tonight to my Zoom. I just signed up another one tonight during the Zoon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's in cruise control on this call. He's already done his business an hour ago.
Sorry. I see you a girl in my Zoom tonight.
Yeah, I had them go check out what's going on so that they can look at and get a feel for it and
What's Leo?
discuss it.
Huh? It's okay.
It's good. Hey, I want them to learn from the best. So that's why they're there.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's wrap this one up. Let's see, it is April 11. By the way, for those of you celebrating Passover or Easter coming up this weekend, I want to extend my, I don't know what you say, happy holidays or happy festivities. And we'll see you. Oh, is
Mike,
Monday a holiday for
Mike,
people?
The
Yeah.
other thing about the commitment is to share it with somebody. Because
Yeah.
if you share it with someone, so get with your upline or get with the person that's active above you and let them know that you're playing way out there. Get with your buddy and just go, hey, this is what we're going to do, you know,
True.
because it solidifies a little bit more. And no, Easter Sunday on our end. I don't know about the.
No, it is
Passover.
Sunday, but sometimes there's a holiday on the following day or something. I don't know. I'll check into it, but for now, we'll just say there is a call, and if there isn't, I'll let you all know on the chat. All right, everyone, set those expectations high. Have a good one.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye-bye.
Bye, bye.